into your day, but obviously here with Illinois in Focus daily, you can wake up with some of those headlines and join the live chat and follow along. Some of the things we're going to be tackling this morning. We've got, 270 some odd bills that the governor signed Friday. It's considered, at least the terminology I use is, it's a bill dump. Typically on a Friday, you have a news dump that happens, and in the journalism space, it's always one of those things where sometimes you're getting ready to get out of the work week, and it's Friday at 4:30, and then all of a sudden you get a huge news story that just decides to drop. So we had a bill dump on Friday, but the governor also acted on other legislation earlier this week dealing with digital currencies. So we'll take a look at some of that. We've also got to look at the current candidate list, at least some of them, of the race for U.S. Senate. We've got, of course, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, who's had a lot of microphone time being with Governor J.B. Pritzker at bill signings and such. So we've heard a lot from her, but what about some of the other Democratic candidates? Also, what about some of the Republican candidates? So obviously with March 17th coming up for the primary, candidates out there getting petitions signed. We'll hear just some of those voices. But we also got to hear what the governor has to say about the latest on redistricting and a bipartisan push to have an independent commission here in Illinois. Plus, we've got to get to the latest back and forth on mental health exams, universal mental health checks in public schools, and a congresswoman from Illinois wanting to give parents more in a way, better word, power over that situation. So we'll hear some of that as well. A lot of stuff going on. We may be playing catch up tomorrow as well. So I appreciate you being here, part of the program. Each and every weekday morning, I had a great time off the past couple of days. Took my nibblings to see Nine Inch Nails, their first Nine Inch Nails concert up in Chicago, and it was pretty remarkable. I've seen Nine Inch Nails, I don't even know how many times. I've lost track. But wonderful to be able to take them and let them experience the raw grittiness of industrial music. Some people surprised that, hey, I didn't take you for a Nine Inch Nails fan. Well, I am. But anyways, that's why I took 3 days off, to spend some time with family and just to unplug a bit. But we're back at it, and you're with us. Greatly appreciate it. Go to thecentersquare.com, get the newsletter, wake up with us here on YouTube for Illinois in Focus Daily each and every weekday morning when I don't take off. It's right here with the Center Square. Field vying for Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin's seat, it's pretty large, obviously, with Durbin announcing he's not going to take another term. You've got people on the left, people on the right, all jumping in to possibly get on the November ballot for 2026. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning. So last week was the state fair, right? We had Governor's Day on Wednesday, Democrats taking to a stage, talking about the issues, candidates getting up on stage, making their pitch to their faithful Democratic voters. And then also you had Republican Day Thursday last week, where at least one name had surfaced as a Republican for the March primary, and reporter Jim Talamonte reaching out to another Republican, so we'll hear some of that. But obviously the field is starting to get set for the March 17th primary. It's not solidified yet because you still have the petitions that need to be filed. That's going to happen in late late October, and then there's going to be a challenge period where people can challenge these petitions, possibly knocking people off the ballot. So Republicans will have their own ballot. Democrats will have their own ballot. That's for the March 17th primary. And then whoever comes out on top for each party there will be on the November 2026 ballot. But let's hear from some of the Democrats. Of course, Raja Krishnamoorthi, congressman from the Chicago suburbs, he stopped at the fair last week, took questions from a pool of reporters, and he talked about Senator Dick Durbin's legacy.
Look, I think Dick Durbin is a lion of Illinois politics and government, a lion of the Senate. He is a role model for how you conduct yourself as a senator, certainly in terms of constituent services across Illinois, including in downstate and southern Illinois, where he has delivered so many resources to help people. I wouldn't even begin to pretend like I could somehow replace him, but I aspire to build on his legacy of great progress.
Okay, we'll go to Spectrum.
Now, obviously, you've got Durbin, who's been in office for decades, representing Illinois as a congressman in the U.S. House before he became a U.S. senator. And the Democrats will, predictably say, hey, they appreciate Durbin's tenure and they hope to, continue his legacy. But then you've got, the Republicans who are just saying, Durbin was a disaster, right? I mean, obviously, if you've tuned into politics, you kind of already know how that goes. But what about the issues, right? I mean, party aside, what issues are these candidates pushing for? Congressman Krishnamoorthi talking about those issues at the state fair with a gaggle of reporters.
I think two things. One, I believe that the number one issue are the economic pain points that people are feeling right now, especially in terms of the affordability crisis. As a former small business person, as somebody who's spent a decade working on these issues, including skills-based and career technical education, I come prepared to meet the moment to help people, with the most sensitive nerve in their body, which is their pocketbook nerve. The second thing is I've spent a decade in Congress basically standing up to bullies and bad actors. Now I need to stand up to the biggest bully, and that's Donald Trump.
So the big issue Raja Krishnamoorthi is going to be running on is going after Donald Trump, and got the economy as well, and some other issues that at least that Democratic congressman is hoping to get in front of voters as he's looking for their vote in the March primary. Another Democrat that's running for Illinois Senate is Congresswoman Robin Kelly, and she says that she represents a congressional district that's representative of the entire state, even though it's only a small little portion of Illinois.
You know what? My district is urban, suburban, and rural. I go south of Danville, west of Pontiac, and the way I look at it, no matter where you live, people want a good paying job, a roof over their head, good education for their kids, access to quality health care, and they want to feel safe. That's how I approach my job every day, and that's how I would approach it statewide.
So she says her district gives her that kind of advantage over, say, Raja Krishnamoorthi, because she has some rural areas in there, and that is going to give her the perspective for a statewide race. But listen, I mean, primaries are different than general elections, because primaries, you have Democrats going after Democrats, and Republicans going after Republicans, and the party faithful take to the polls and they decide who had the better message. But sometimes those primaries can really mean the party performers are going to lurch to the extreme of each side. So is that going to be difficult to navigate? How do you get a broad base of support during a primary if your views are considered to be going further on the spectrum of either the left or the right? Question I asked Robin Kelly, do you go far left in the primary to get more Democratic voters?
I go Robin Kelly. Really, I mean, that's what I do. I'm informed by speaking to a lot of different people, and of course I represent the 2nd Congressional District now, so I try to represent my district as best as I could, and then I make decisions off of Things I learn, information I receive.
So Robin Kelly running in the Democratic primary, Raja Krishnamurthy running in the Democratic primary, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton running in the Democratic primary. There could be others. And again, the filing period's October 27th, so we'll see what those names are for the Democrat side of the U.S. Senate seat. And you've got Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton getting support from Governor J.B. Pritzker, and there's a lot of questions about resources. How much money are you going to be able to pull in, especially during a primary? Is Juliana Stratton going to be able to tap into Pritzker's political wealth? Who, again, Pritzker's a billionaire, and he's put in like $200+ million into his run for office since 2018, 2019. So it's a lot of money, but is he going to be helping out Juliana Stratton with that while Raja Krishnamurthy is getting some funds coming in? Robin Kelly's been asked about the money situation. She said that money doesn't dictate who wins. But what about the Republicans? Don Tracy, former Illinois Republican Party chairman, he announced last week that he's in the race for U.S. Senate. I was able to touch base with him during Republican Day at the State Fair last week, and he said that the issues are clear to him as to what voters are looking for in somebody who's going to be the next U.S. Senator.
The economy. Values, Midwestern values are also very important. And I'm running to champion Midwestern values in D.C. I'm running to reduce the cost of living. And also I'm running to represent all of Illinois, not just Chicago. After, with Durbin retiring, there'll be no statewide public official in Illinois, state or federal, that is from downstate. They're all from Chicago and Cook County. And I'm running to represent all of Illinois, not just Chicago, as important as Chicago is.
Now, Illinois used to have a Republican U.S. Senator and a Democratic U.S. Senator, right? Dick Durbin was senator, and then I think Mark Kirk was the Republican, and he ended up having a stroke in the middle of his term, and a lot of questions about, if somebody is medically incapacitated, should they have been replaced? So there was a lot of questions about all of that. But clearly, you've got some interesting things going on when it comes to the dynamic in Illinois, right? You've got Democrats controlling all major statewide offices, not just U.S. Senators, Duckworth and Durbin, but you've got the 5 state constitutional officers from governor, lieutenant governor, treasurer, comptroller, attorney general. So clearly, Democrats run the game here in Illinois. How do you get over that in a state that is dominated by Democrats? Don Tracy answering that question.
Well, first of all, Trump got 45% without even trying, without spending any money here, without working it. I'm going to be working the state. And if I can get that number in a typical midterm, I will win the race. So, but I'm going to focus not just on the voters that voted for President Trump, but also for the swing voters, and even there are some Republicans that didn't vote for President Trump. And so I believe in the Big Tent Republican Party. I believe that as state chairman, and I certainly believe it as a U.S. Senate candidate. And
Tracy also saying that Democrats, he believes, are vulnerable heading into this election.
They're so vulnerable, it's opened the door. It's one of the things that encouraged me to jump into this race, because they have been tilting leftward socialistically. They really should be now called the Democrat Socialist Party, like Bernie Sanders says. And there's going to be a primary on the Democrat side, and my guess is that they're going to be running leftward to win that primary, and that is going to create an opening for a center-right candidate like me.
Will that be the way it runs, or will Tracy have to actually really go after the primary? Because there is at least one other name that's a Republican vying for that U.S. Senate seat, and that is Jimmy Lee Tillman II. You can see his website,